Matsuzaki opens up the blade, catches the US unsighted.
As Ireland goes for another hammer, this one arcing over the top.
The high release flick. What a cheeky shot.
To Gaskill for the win.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ninos, Ninas, everybody else in between and all over the world, welcome to this, the final frontier of the mixed division at the World Under-24 Ultimate Championships here in beautiful Logroño, Spain. We are in Estadio Municipal Las Gaunas for what promises to be an absolutely titanic tussle between the mixed division champions, USA. That's right, they've never been defeated whenever they've shown up, against their old enemies, the people just north of the border, Canada. Let's look at the bracket. As I'm Lorcan Murray, I'm joined by Becky Thompson. Tell us how this story is unfolded.
Well, we've seen two very good teams coming all the way through play. Of course, Canada dropping an earlier pool play game to France earlier in the tournament, which put them on the opposite side of the bracket from the USA. The USA then facing off against that French team in the semifinals and having a hard time dealing with them, as well as you see here, France breaking to go up and ending up leading this game 10-7, Lorcan. The United States having a lot to deal with, free players in open spaces, and the USA really had to go back to the drawing board to think about it. They told themselves they knew they would get opportunities, they knew they could convert them, and ended up going on a massive 8-point run to close it out.
One of the most impressive performances we've seen all year, all tournament long, from a storied franchise. On the opposite side, Canada, in a repeat of their semi-final defeat last year, took on Singapore. A different style than that to which they are more acquainted, but one that they have become more familiar with over the course of the tournament. They learned how to lean on their players. They learned how to keep that mental fortitude. It was some big-time plays from some big-time names, as well as a couple of upstart appearances as well from extra elements of their squad stepping up. They were able to run out consummate victors 15-10 and book a place in this final. A key player on that entire journey is that woman right there, Alicia Zhang, number 5. Look for her in the end zone. Do not look for her defender, because that will be difficult to find. She is consistently the end result of every offensive play. They move down the pitch, she finds the space, she unlocks options for her handlers and makes difficult situations into easy conversions. We can have a look here at some of those chase down plays, whether it's hucks, whether it's cuts to the break side, whether it's whatever you need in that moment. Alicia Zhang has an answer. She is the only returning player from the under-23 team back 2 years ago when they faced off in Nottingham, and she is using that experience as well as that composure to make sure that her team always gets the result they need.
Meanwhile, the USA, the likes of Anton Orm, has been tearing up offenses and defenses here. 11 assists, 9 goals. He does it on both sides of the disc, and look to him to be very crucial for this USA mixed team. The D1 2024 Men's Offensive Player of the Year as well, and you can see there why, making things look so easy, so clinical, and then doing it on the other side as well with his big defensive efforts. Anton Orm has been unstoppable for this USA side.
And on a team with so many superstars, Becky, it can be hard to stand out at times. Yes, we picked Anton Orm, but something, and Alicia Zhang, to be honest with you, but something that really shapes both these squads is the way they've prepared for this tournament and how they've come together.
Yeah, both of these teams with a ton of depth, having different preparations for this tournament. The USA team spent a good week out here before having a training camp where actually in that week they formed their lines. The US team playing out of a 3-line system, different names for those lines as well, having a lot of fun with it. Lorcan, I'm sure we'll touch on that at some point during this broadcast. Canada, on the other hand, a more traditional O-line, D-line type of look here, and these two teams playing each other in a warm-up game as well. They played 2 games. Canada lost the first one 8-4 and then beat the USA on the second one 8-3. So these two teams clearly very equally matched.
A give and take, a back and forth, a scintillating, salivating showdown here at the end of the World Ultimate 24 Championships. Thank you so much for joining us. There's still one game worth of action to go, and I've got a sneaking suspicion it's going to be the best one.
I really hope so. We have seen a couple blowouts here so far today, Lorcan. The USA so dominant in these competitions. They have obviously been in this final so many times. The Americans didn't make the 2010 final, but they didn't attend the tournament. And ever since 2013, making the final and winning it on every occasion as well. Meanwhile, the Canadian team, you see one of their coaches, Jeremy Norden, there, no stranger to mix, but this Canadian team returning to the mixed final here for the first time since 2013.
Oh, so only 2 years ago.
A massive 12-year loss. So be interesting to see how they can convert a couple bronze medals that they've got as well. Meanwhile, we are going to shoot down to our amazing sideline reporter, Steph Rapazzo, who's with some USA fans.
USA! I'm here with Declan Miller on the sideline. You were part of this mixed team last time, freshly crowned champion. What do you expect out of this mixed game now?
Yeah, I'm really excited for this match versus Canada. A lot of confidence in the mixed squad. I had a blast playing with them last cycle, and I'm excited for them to go out and get another gold medal. Talk about the delegation here. Big support. What's it been like carrying all these friends and family around? Yeah, I mean, you can hear it now, the USA chants in the background. We have one of the bigger delegations here. A lot of athletes who are bought in and excited for all three teams to go out and get the job done. So now that two have gotten the gold medals, excited to go support the mixed team, and hopefully they can bring home a third as well. Awesome stuff. Freshly minted champion Declan Miller. Let's throw it back up to the booth.
Thank you so much, Stefan Rapazzo, a man of Canadian heritage but well world traveled. And of course, bringing you the action and the insights from the sideline all game long. Mentioned the large contingent from the US, but I got to tell you, I've been watching the Canadian fans, and they did a rousing chorus of, I believe it's called "Oh Canada, I Stand on Guard for Thee," something to that effect. The national anthem, about 50 to 80 of them singing it, standing up to lift their team. These two North American sides have brought a massive amount of support from home. We want to extend such gratitude to all the support that is still at home watching and joining us on Ultiworld.com. Please do remember, the best way to see all the best ultimate action in the world is at Ultiworld.com. Subscribe now. We know a few of you might be sharing passwords, but trust us, it's always worth getting your own for all that extra content, the extra games, the extra insights from the articles. Ultiworld.com, bringing you all this action here from Logroño, Spain, as we are just about ready to kick things off. It is going to be Canada starting on defense. Antoine Dubé with the disc in hand, ready to pull it down there. You can see the sidelines allayed. The sun spraying the field, and the action underway. Here come the US of A on offense. Catching that, surprisingly, I was expecting that to be allowed out for a break, but the confidence clear. Kervik with the quick dump, near sideline, collected, Mason pops it back. Kervik, and then again to Bartlett. So Canada opening things up early with a zone, Becky.
Yeah, we knew Canada was going to throw different things at this USA team to try to disrupt their rhythm, so an interesting first look here.
Doesn't seem to have disrupted much as Bartlett sends to the near sideline, forgive me, and Stone. And America already outside the end zone. Nothing looking too flustering right now for them. Although that stall count getting higher all the time. A quick 1-2 to reset. Right back to the same position and a break across. Fantastic work from Friedman, linking up with Caroline Stone for the goal, 1-0.
Yeah, like you said, Friedman finding Stone with that little cheeky inside backhand into the end zone. And as you mentioned there, Lorcan, Canada trying to throw out a defensive look to maybe stop the momentum from the USA team, but they carved through that zone so effectively. And from our position here, it looked like there was a lot of spaces in the zone, and USA was able to really efficiently move through the space before working it in for that nice little inside dish for the goal.
So the zone slowing them momentarily, but once they unlock it with a big gaining throw around past the initial few defenders, it's off to the races. And that's something that we've seen from this American side. I've got to ask, out of the three lines, any idea which one that was?
I'm not sure, actually. So we've got Huevos.
Huevos.
We've got Happy Birthday, Fina.
Happy Birthday, Fina. and por qué?
And why. Correct. So 3 USA lines that are having a lot of fun out here. They did name those lines during their training camp. Naomi Fina, obviously a part of one of those lines. They've had several birthdays, they said, during this tournament, but enjoying themselves a lot, as well as here to compete on the world stage.
So a fun little game for the fans at home. Which line is it when it comes to the Americans? The Canadians have been open to swapping players over as they've risen to the occasion. We know this, of course, in one example of Alicia Zhang, who's been incredible for them, going from an alternate to making the squad. But another occasion, right there, that man with the disc, Koji Suzuki, starting off in the D-line, moving to the O-line, taking a big shot, but nothing happening straight away. They seemed happy, but they couldn't find Karahashi on the other end.
Yeah, shooting for Karahashi in that space. Obviously a dominant receiver for this Canadian team, but Emily Pazzi had the read on it the whole way.
So now the US, disc in hand with a big shot back themselves. Looking downfield, trying to find the form of Suflo, and he takes it down for the early break. 2-0.
There wasn't much that Neo DeBru could do in that space there, Lorcan. You could see that there was so much separation, and DeBru trying to track it down but couldn't get in front of the receiver, and the USA making very light work of that offensive possession there. Their defense earning the turn back, Posey with that massive block, and then making it look so simple.
And something we've seen from the US all day long is they keep it fundamental. There's another look at the Suzuki shot, trying to find Karahashi. Look, that's a pretty good shot. That's an incredible defensive play by Emily Pazzi. And then on the other side, just great positioning, jumping backwards as well, following the throw from Samuel Grossberg. Samuel Grossberg graduating from getting gold last year at the under-20 level with the US mixed team.
It was pretty whippy, to be honest.
You heard Silfo there just talking about the grab potentially, enjoying himself, as we said, these athletes in a massive world championship final, but an incredible grab from him under the pressure from DeBru, and it'll be interesting to see now how this Canadian O-line will respond.
So Tori Gray with the pull. This time they go under to Karahashi. And continuing the flow down, Chigley. Neo DeBru, proving he is the one reaching up and pulling that down on the sideline. Karahashi cuts up the line. Shigley available in the back space, able to get the swing around. No pressure. Zhang, back to Shigley. Big layout clap catch. Karahashi working very hard under pressure. And Tori Gray, I think, was calling something, calling a push-off. What do you think, Becky? Because we can clearly tell what the audience thinks.
I did think that Gray actually made quite a lot of contact with Karahashi on the catch. So I'm not sure if there was then a second movement after that. Can't see it in that shot where it may have come from. So interesting to see, though, when somebody does dish out contact, how much they're willing to take back in return. And sometimes these early stages of the game is just when you find that level of contact in your matchup and you are happy with.
So it goes to Karahashi in the end. A couple of stutter steps from the front of Stack, but ultimately Shigley's the only one making any moves right now. Now you see Nielsen cut down, but it's a bit too far ahead. She kind of stutter stepped and stopped her cut halfway through.
I think it looked to me like there was a miscommunication about whether that disc was for Nielsen or Alicia Zhang, who was also cutting laterally out of the stack, and in the end, neither player is fully committed to it.
So now the US with a chance for another break and another commanding lead. Out of these finals, Zhang getting involved, but understandably running straight into the action and causing the body contact and the foul. So Raycon Atkins gets to pick that one back up. Zhang hurriedly recovers position. Birdsong, Atkins. Atkins has been a phenom in this tournament so far. Birdsong no slouch either. Birdsong, good help defense from the Canadians, flashing those lanes when the cuts to the same space, and that's going to be a block, bounced around, a little bit of pinball action. Canadians get it back. Shigley, Suzuki. Shigley goes down the line. Suzuki feeds. Suzuki continues, gets clamped, but still finds some space. And now they're just playing a little bit of two-man game. Some give goes, waiting for the move from Kurahashi right at the front. And that's the first score, 2-1.
Kurahashi loves that front cone cut, Lorcan. We've seen her do it time and time again. Just the little jump cut, stutter step, able to get herself into that space. Took them a second time of asking for their offense on this occasion, but it was their defense on the turn that really won them the disc back, able to take away those undercuts to cause the turnover. And you see there the massive grab from De Bruyne earlier in the point before the push off. I'm not sure about that one. I didn't see a lot of contact there, but then able to go the other way. That one you saw, there was a stutter step from Nielsen, just stopped her cut. Zhang causing some contact on that one. This game heating up already. We've seen several turnovers from this Canadian O-line here, Lorcan, before they were finally able to get this goal in to keep themselves very much in this game at the start of this one. We were speaking to the coaches beforehand, get a replay of this grab here from Mika Kurahashi. And the coaches said, I think only about 5 or 6 of their players have played in a big stadium final like this in front of a big crowd. So maybe just seeing a few of those nerves at the start of this game before they hopefully settle into their rhythm.
Well, they won't have long to settle into it. Here comes the American offense. Standard 2-5 as well. Seen a fair amount of that lately. A lot in the women's final, both directions. Good continuation play. Oh, and there's the block. So an absolutely massive block from Davis Toth. And this could be a crucial turning point. Nishizaki gets the reset. Toth, the man with the block. Toth back along. Samantha Mock. Back to Nishizaki. It's really led. This is between Mock and Nishizaki. They've been phenomenal for the D-line offense of Canada. Along to Malaney. Malaney goes back to Nishizaki. Flanked by Toth. Staring down a largely inactive field in front of him. Moving for the continuation, Daly. Bit of contact.
Looked like a pick called upfield, and that Canadian stack did start to get quite condensed on that point as the possession has gone on, so could understand why there might have been some congestion there.
So Daly, fantastic defensive pressure. Not the best of cuts by Toth initially. And now the offhand, backhand leading pass. It comes out fluttery, but it lands insecure, and that's all that ever really matters. Malaney right outside the end zone. Canada knocking. They want to get in and get that break back. Mock swings. Caught. Malaney. Mock goes up the line. Nishizaki comes back. Now it's Malaney. They're running a bit of an isolation. Lucier comes out of the stack, but I think a congestion charge. Lucier, this way, that way, cannot get free, and a hand block on the hammer. Massive pressure. Declan Kervick gets the stop. And the US launching, looking all the other way down the pitch. They want Aaron Bartlett, they'll get him. There's going to be a call, the violation.
There was a pick called in the stack, and looking from my perspective, I'm not sure it affected the outcome of the play. I don't think that the two players involved in it were impacted at all by the pick. So I think this should stay where it is, but it'll be interesting to see what the players have to say about it.
If you hear a pick, you have to keep playing. It doesn't affect the play. Sorry, I'm breathing so hard. Are you guys in agreement of it staying here?
Hey! Caroline, Declan!
All right. Whenever you're ready, I'm getting off the field.
And that's Kate Dare, one of our GAs. Oliver Brown, the other one for this mixed final. You see the call for Kervick to be the one to receive the disc, but in the end they'll go with whoever's open. Isaiah Mason. Now it finds Kervick. And he gets it right back to Mason. So almost 2-2, instead 3-1.
Not quite a bookends there for Kervick, but nearly getting the assist on that one after the huge hand block on the other end at that end zone hold from the USA. They were so good on those front corner cone cuts, the ones that we know Canada wants to hit. And really Canada ran out of patience, ran out of options, and then opted to go for that hammer. And Krvik read it so well. You get another look at the big block from Toth on that one, coming through for the layout. Incredible stuff, but Canada just running out of patience, genuinely. Krvik, huge arms, he was ready for that one, and then they walk it back the other way and into the end zone.
You can tell they've really done their homework, knowing what that Canadian handlers like to do. Nishizaki has been incredible all week long, and you almost never see hand blocks on hammers. So a bit of marshalling the troops going on. Lauren Boyle. And the US coaching corps has been together for a couple of cycles now. They were together in 2023 when they picked up gold. They were supposed to be together for 2021, but of course that tournament was cancelled. Lauren Boyle, Patrick Sherlock also together in 2019, both as assistant coaches at the time when they picked up gold. So really a long legacy of championship caliber coaching to back up these teams. And once again, it's going to be a deep shot. Once again, it's into a contested area. And that's a fantastic interception. Climbing a ladder and ripping that down. Kyle Schulflo making a name for himself already. He's got a goal, he's got a block, and I imagine the Canadians want to go back on that. Lots of space, big throw directly into it. Fantastic use of distance and awareness, and it's finished off in the end zone. The goal ending up in the hands of Louis Duville-Pétois.
The most impressive thing to me on that point, Lorcan, was Kyle Schulflo went from getting that block to streaking up the pitch at lightning speed away from his defender, had nobody near him when that puck went up. And right now, it looks to me like Canada are maybe trying to beat the USA a little bit at their own game here. You see this one from Schulflo, he just got in front of DeBrew, able to make that grab and box out before they go all the way back the other direction. And at that moment here, Canada were just trailing the entire time, and they trail now 4-1 heading into the first heat break, and we will take a quick break and be right back.
The 2025 club season is upon us, and Ultiworld is bringing you all the action. Ultiworld is the best place for live video, news, highlights, and analysis of your favorite teams and players.
Bartlett scores again.
Make sure to subscribe for our extensive live coverage of the USAU club season, including the thrilling club championships in San Diego in October, exclusively on Ultiworld.
Welcome back, everybody. As you can see, the Canadian crowd roaring, and they'll need all the support they can get. They're 4-1 down. Becky, What would you like to see the Canadian offense try to change up to fight their way back into this game?
Well, I think there's a couple things, Lorcan, and as our sideline reporter Stefan Pazzo has let us know as well, Alexander Nichols was in that heat timeout really trying to pump up the team, get them some energy. I think energy is crucial, especially on defense, but the offense you were mentioning, they need to get some of their other players involved a little bit more. The likes of Nielsen has been so dominant for this team, able to really marshal the offense, that central handler role, and we haven't seen much of her so far in this game. So I think getting Nielsen involved a little bit more, using Shigley in that space as well, could be really beneficial to this offense.
The pull from Tori Gray. We'll see, Shigley has stepped down, and there, just like you were mentioning, Becky, Shigley and Nielsen sitting at the base, trying to get a bit more flow going. Smooth into the center. Zhang, down to Zhang. Emily to Alicia. Kurahashi. Shigley. Across to Nielsen. I do feel like if they get Nielsen a few more touches, they'd be a little bit more confident. And an incredible grab! You want touches that lead to goals. You call that woman Alicia Zhang.
Alicia Zhang with a monster grab on that sideline of the end zone as well, running out of space, throwing into such a small window and having to make a big reaction play. Canada needed that energy coming out of that heat break, and that is exactly how you do it, Lorcan.
A big, big moment from a big, big player. Such a leader for this side. And up until that last throw, that actually looked like the Canadian offense we were hoping we'd see. Calm, confident, in control. And then every now and again, you just need a little bit of something extra. That's what she provides. But the flow up to that point.
Yeah, absolutely. The flow up to that point is the crucial thing to focus on here. They got those key players involved. They created a lot of separation, and we saw them settle into more of a pull play formation that we haven't seen them be comfortable in. We've seen a lot of 2-5 verticals so far. They got themselves into a horizontal and created an isolation play with several players cutting deep before creating an open under option that got everything started.
So it flows back. Stone quick with the dump, and then tearing off deep. Nobody's picked her up. There's calls in the backfield immediately. As soon as the deep goes back, the break throw goes across. Fantastic work by the Americans. Bartlett now pops back to Friedman. Friedman across to Cunningham. Cunningham down the line. Friedman again, and makes another move. Bartlett now just outside the end zone. They've made that awfully quick. Back to Stone. Once more just to the front. The form of Kervik. Has a hand block to his name already. Goal as well. Back to Kervik. Kervik and Stone. Just playing it back and forth. Now the swing around to Friedman. Friedman's give go so lethal in these spaces. Throws, goes. Knows exactly how to impose her will. The swing back. And a nice shoulder fake and cut from Kervik. Can't get it back to Friedman. Instead, a looping pass around. Cunningham shoots for the end zone, and brilliant toe tap down. Yes, I've got to agree with you, Micah. I think that was in. Nope. Yes, that's called in. Micah Glass.
Yeah, it looked to me like Micah Glass got 1 foot inbounds as he made that catch, and in the end zone, I should say as well. Glass coming in with a big play. Canada initially was doing a really good job of coming around the mark and flashing in the lanes to stop those swing passes, but on that occasion it was just one swing too many, and the big break throw able to come through on that play. And the US looking very calm. Another different defensive look we've seen from this Canadian team, and so far it hasn't done what Canada was hoping. They were looking for it to cause some confusion, potentially let them get out of their rhythm, disrupt play a little bit, and so far this USA team has been unflustered.
We know the Canadians put in a lot of work to try and study and scout this American team, come up with certain matchups to counter them.
Yeah, the team were given, I see Sam Mock there drinking straight out of the water cooler. It is hot down there on this field today. Thankfully on the grass rather than the turf at this finals venue, which helps a little bit, but it's still quite hot. And like you were saying, the Canadians spent time watching each of their matchups yesterday. They were told basically to make what they refer to as a Pokemon card, looking at the strengths and weaknesses of their matchups. So a well-studied team. They know what to expect from this game. It's a matter, I think, at this point, about them settling into themselves, focusing on their game, and playing in their rhythm.
Let's see if they can get that rhythm going as they look to beat the Americans. Nielsen, Shigley clears. Nielsen goes far sideline. And it's smoothly placed back in. Malané waiting for moves. Kurahashi comes under. And another straight cut to the open side. That's not going to be enough to get you free against these American defenders. Stall count rising. They have to turn to Zhang once more, needing a big grab. So a bit of contact between Zhang and Katja Piscon. And Zhang's going to have to take an injury. But again, that's an example of the dump pass was shut down. Couldn't get it back to Nielsen. Couldn't get it across to Daly. The cuts downfield. I think it was Alexander Nichols who was making a couple of unders that weren't really bringing any joy either. Americans are shutting down an awful lot of options. Mock steps on. Now Mock can't lead Nielsen. Happy to go back to Shigley. Cuts around and sits in the dump space. Big swing. Kurahashi collects. Kurahashi back to Shigley. Mock is moving and there's just some pounding. As Piscon and her lock shoulders. Mock gets free on the under, gives it back to Kurahashi. Full extension grab. Tries to continue to Shigley. There are poaches into the lane, just flashing. Good recognition out of the end zone by Malané. Or Daly, sorry. Daly tries to get the pass across. It's going to be a foul called on the athletic dive from Biodin.
It'll be really interesting to see this one back, Lorcan. It looked like Malané might have got his hands on it, but I'm not sure if he'd stopped rotation and had control.
It's hard to tell that quickly as we see the big bid. Oh, that actually on that side it looked like Malané had got control.
Yeah, hard to tell. I'm not sure the contact was enough to warrant a foul, but my only question is whether or not Malané had control of the disc.
They agree he did not. So quickly picked up and thrown away. So somewhat surprising. He's got to imagine a lot of people look to Chloe Hakimi as one of the brightest young stars in their spangled banner. And Shigley wants to waste no time, launching deep, looking for that talismanic play of Kurahashi, but once again in a lot of trouble, covered all around. And this time it's Abby Schultz who gets the block. And crucially the interception, which is something I'm really liking about these American deep defensive plays. Bit of contact. I think Katja Piscon might have come off worse for wear after that one.
Yeah, just a miscommunication there between Grossberg and Piscon. Looks like they just didn't see each other in that space, and it's never fun when two teammates collide with each other. Piscon has been so valuable for this USA team, especially as a receiver in the end zone, so hopefully she's okay.
That looked like head first into an elbow. Not on purpose, of course, but just that's what happens sometimes when your primary focus is a Frisbee as you're sprinting forward. The United States with a chance to take a commanding lead. Grossberg dumps back. Quick movement and flowing it around. Trying to get some passes off. Biodin able to eventually. Grossberg. Hakimi doesn't want to force anything down the near sideline. Nielsen, big pause. And somehow that slips through the gaps. Fantastic throw, precise. And then a quick shot around for the goal. It's another break. Abby Schultz collects. The United States celebrate. 6-2.
USA getting a little bit lucky on that one. That throw from Hakimi was collected by Pawsey in the space. Not sure that was the initial intended target, but for this USA team, it doesn't matter. They are always backing each other up, always willing to make those plays, and as long as they've got control and momentum in this game, Lorcan, it's hard to see how this Canadian team can start to break them down. We've seen the USA in control before, and we've seen them, of course, in that semifinal down, but able to regain that momentum. And once they're cruising, it is so hard to challenge this side.
As you can see there, even the big layout not able to do enough. Pawsey just stayed focused, brought it in, and once that throw unlocked the defense, it's just a quick pass, pop. When the break side becomes an open pass, and a close game becomes a concerning deficit.
Yeah, Canada right now just needing, I think, to find a way to settle themselves. We've said this before, but I think it's also a case of looking to create some more isolation plays. They're having a few times where they're cutting to the same spaces, especially around the end zone, and the USA is taking full advantage of that and putting them under pressure. The coaches said they wanted to cause chaos and confusion in this game for the USA, and so far they're really doing that to Canada.
See how they can respond. A couple of different switches on the offensive side. We see Suzuki return. Antoine Dubé stepping over, on a defensive stalwart for them. And the US coming out with a zone look. Neil Debreu. Mock. Suzuki. So doing a good job just swinging right now and taking the yards as they're available to them. And this is the element of Suzuki's game I'm such a big fan of. Already turned over on a couple of hucks. He is lethal in that short space as well. Dubé comes back. So he goes down the line, finds Mock. Somehow that gets away from Poe. Now it's across to Dubé. Dubé back to Debreu. Debreu across to Martel. And then they try to go through the gap, but that was one time too many. And they get caught with their hand in the cookie jar.
Canada just rushing it there. They were looking so calm walking up the field and just didn't recognize that Poe was still stood in that space.
And here's a huge shot downfield once more, wanting to test the defensive prowess of Neil Debreu, but this time he's equal to the challenge. Raonic just have to watch it go over his head. Mock's already picked it up, wanting to get things going. Now across to Suzuki. Martel in front, Mock behind. Now flow across, Fortier. Fortier to Martel, back to Suzuki. Again, on this far sideline, Debreu. Mock with the rounding cut up the line to try and create a little bit of space away from Erica Birdsong on the mark. Now Suzuki goes back. You gotta talk about what a nuisance Michael Poe is being, and then he gets the steal. Just always in that space, dissuading all kinds of throws, and that's a hop, skip, and a jump into the end zone. Going to be a bit of debate about it, but I gotta tell you, to me, Adkins looking to finish this one off. Back to Adkins, momentarily with Baker. Now they try to return it to him. He does, slides to his knees. I'm not gonna lie, that looked pretty cool. As it's heating up on the pitch, and it's collected for the goal. Naomi Fina, happy birthday. 7-2.
And initially there, Lorcan, I was looking at that USA zone and I was thinking Canada en route to this final have played Japan, they've played China, they've played Singapore, they've played countries that love to play a zone. They've been well practiced in playing zone offense, and I was thinking maybe this isn't the right choice here from the USA to get those turns and create pressure, but Poe proving me wrong on every opportunity. You see the defensive pressure there from Debreu, and then Poe getting another block, and the USA right now, they are in Canada's pocket.
Honestly, I feel like that was already in. Poe, easy dump passes, nevermore, as he is just disrupting everything in that space and causing a little bit of a Huntsville, Alabama nightmare, TM, for that Canadian O-line. They're back out there. You've got to imagine the Canadian coaching staff with a couple of ideas. Danny Proby, been here before, helping return Canada to the podium. But of course they want to climb just a little bit higher. Nielsen with the disc. This is a different zone look from a different line. Back to Shigley. Shigley and Nielsen, the bedrock of this Canadian offense for so much of this tournament. De Bruyne around. Zhang, fantastic to see her return to the pitch. Karahashi takes off deep and absolutely takes Emil Putzi to market on the undercut. Across to Nielsen. And another possession-saving grab from Zhang. Shigley goes deep. Zhang goes dump to Nielsen. Shigley continues. Nielsen hits. Straight in the chest at pace. Karahashi cuts. Cuts again. Gets it in the dump space. Continuation available, but not with enough separation. De Bruyne seemed to almost cut off the same space as well. I don't like that immediate step start, but then there's the second move. Never doubt Zhang. And Nielsen goes full extension, but can't bring it in.
And right now, Lorcan, this Canadian side is having to make each other work really hard to make these grabs. We've seen Zhang on the ground multiple times, and then Nielsen not able to come through with that one.
And Hakimi plucking that out of the sky. Quick swing across, Suelflo having himself quite the final. And a shot to the end zone, going to be chased down and caught comfortably. Emil Putzi books a place at halftime with 8-2 up for the United States.
You can see some of the faces of the Canadians there looking almost a little bit perplexed, a little bit down. Right now, the USA is all over them, Lorcan. They are applying so much pressure on defense. They've come down in multiple different looks and shown that each time they're forcing Canada into uncomfortable situations, forcing them to make more difficult throws as well. And Canada looks a bit lost on this field right now, and that is what this USA program can do to you. See Nielsen there trying to go full extension, but that one just a little bit too far before the USA is able to come the other way, looking to Putzi in the end zone.
So right now, commanding lead, United States 8, Canada 2.
The 2025 club season is upon us, and Ultiworld is bringing you all the action. Ultiworld is the best place for live video, news, highlights, and analysis of your favorite teams and players.
Bartlett scores again.
Make sure to subscribe for our extensive live coverage of the USAU club season, including the thrilling club championships in San Diego in October, exclusively on Ultiworld.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to take a quick step down to the sideline to join the American coach and see how they feel about what was a truly stellar first half alongside Stefan Rapazzo.
I'm with Coach Lauren Boyle of the USA. Strong first half. Defense has been out there a whole bunch. You guys have 3 different lines. They play different styles, different identities. You're getting D's a bunch of ways. Talk to us a bit about that.
Yeah, Hannah Baranis this morning talked about if they're going to huck it, they're going to huck it to the U.S., and you saw that here today, where we're really respecting their deep game and then being able to try to slow down the front, throw some zone, throw some force middle. How can we slow down that Canada is so excellent in big spaces?
You guys clearly do your homework. Mika Kurahashi, standout player. She's had a little bit of the life of what Canada's been doing. What are you going to continue to do or put on her for the second half to maintain your lead?
Yeah, we told the defenders that she's going to get the disc, an excellent player, so how can we make her change directions more times to being able to put their throwers in a position to make her make hard plays?
All things looking good for the USA. Thanks, Lauren, for your time. Good luck in the second half.
So that was Lauren Boyle, and you got to say they're enjoying their time out there. A quick glance at the stats reveals quite an advantage for the Americans, Becky.
Yeah, the USA, 8 break chances, 5 breaks from those 8 chances. They have capitalized on those 9 turnovers from the Canadians. Canada not being efficient on their offense, just the 1 clean hold. They have been giving the disc back to the USA on too many occasions, and the USA are so clinical and so determined when they get possession of the Frisbee.
It's been a real challenge for the Canadians so far. As we just have a quick look at that dominating performance by the United States throughout the first half. Lauren Boyle was talking to us about how they knew if they were going to huck it, they would be hucking it to US. And that's exactly what's been happening. Fuel flow in that instance. Big plays early on, a chance to make it 2-2 from that, but it just wound up being 3-1, and since then the lead has continued to extend and extend, and it's been throughout the ranks of the Americans. You can see there the X and D from top, but one of the few bright sparks so far. Again, another example of a Canadian huck and an American reception. Brilliant grab. And then on the opposite side, you were talking about this, Becky, after getting that block, tearing off down the far sideline, nobody near him, no one responded in time, and able to take the break on for the goal. That's the versatility, that's the lethality that the Americans have expressed throughout all of this game, and it's got to be frustrating if you're Canadian, and it's got to be delightful if you're American. We're going to go and find out firsthand as we go back down to Stefan Rapazzo, who is with Danny Proby.
Here with Danny Proby. Danny, the Americans have been very good in the first half. Talk about what your team needs for energy going into a second half with a bit of a deficit.
Yeah, we've actually been before and have come back, which has been really exciting. But right now, we're like so close. We're playing such nice offense, and it's just a bit of an execution right at the end. Definitely nerves getting to us. Only about 5 people have played in a game like this before. So you're kind of seeing that on display, like who has that composure, who can rise to these moments, and we're going to settle. And we'll give it a better game in the second half. Speaking of settling, you'd love to get a spark, get the crowd back into this. You got a crowd that will definitely come your way. Some of those players you may look to for the spark? Yeah, I mean, Alicia Zhang makes like highlight reel plays, huge bits. We saw one earlier. Davis Toth already had that layout block on the first or the second D point. So we're having options, we're having opportunities, and those players are there, they're ready. They just want to be on the field more. We got to get D-line on the field more. All right, good luck. Good luck getting that D-line on the field. Good luck in the second half.
And
Danny Pro.
I agree. Trying to get that D-line on the field right now. There's only been 13 completed passes for the Canadian D-line in that first half, Becky.
Yeah, it's interesting here, Lorcan. I do think that perhaps the line systems for the USA are also coming into play here. They're getting fresh legs out on the pitch time and time again, rotating through that 3-line system, and Canada, meanwhile, have been stuck with this O-line on the pitch back-to-back-to-back points, and it doesn't look like they've really changed much up. So they talk about getting their D-line on the field. I think perhaps at this point, they don't necessarily need to get that D-line on the field to play defense, but I'd like them to see them come out playing offense rather than running out this same O-line who's been broken 3 times in a row at the end of that second half as well. Obviously, they've had the break from halftime, but I think they could be looking to change something up potentially.
We did see Mock come on at one point when Zhang got injured, so you think maybe bring Mock on from the start of the point, get some of that slightly more quick fire action going. As we have a look at our GA, Ollie Brown. Something else Danny touched on there is the lack of experience at this highest level for the Canadians. I mean, if you're looking at the ones who've really played in stadiums, you've got Koji Suzuki, Mika Kurahashi, Neo Dubrow with Red Flag. They would have played at the finals of the World Ultimate Club Championships, although anybody who watched that final, and you can through Ultiworld, probably imagine this probably feels quite familiar for them. And apart from that, Shigley as well, who's got a lot of experience in America.
Yeah, absolutely. The side lacking a little bit of experience in these big situations, but no stranger to playing against really talented teams. So we'll see if they can settle into their style of offense.
Well, let's find out right now. Shigley collects. Nielsen makes the move. I'm not even on the pitch, and I'm scared of Michael Poe. That is such a dangerous presence at all times. 2 blocks already, and there's an overthrow from Nielsen. And you can really start to feel the nerves coming through in some of those passes. The US starting the second half with another break opportunity. Cutchins Gets the dump off. Wants to get it back from Adkins. Sends it right back to him, and there's the move from Poe. Not getting free. Good help defense in the stack. But Cutchins just takes her time, finds the spot, and shoots it across to Naomi Fina. And that's another present.
That point was all about Cutchins from the USA here. Lorcan came down with so much intensity off the pull and just played intense shutdown defense there. And they were unable to get anything going. The Canadians looking for Mari Nielsen on the centering pass. Cutchins was all over her, in her pocket the entire time. And then even when Nielsen was eventually able to get free, it was the force from Cutchins that caused that big throw out of the sideline before eventually able to assist for the goal. And the USA doing what they did the entire first half, just taking apart this Canadian O-line.
I would agree with you. That is definitely a bookend for Cutchins. You can see the Canadian fans in the stand trying to raise their spirits, but right now it's brilliant play like Calipy Cutchins, like Caroline Stone, of course as well like Michael Poe. It's just draining them, that along with the sun.
And it's interesting to see here now, we are finally going to see the D-line from Canada out on the field to play offense. We haven't seen these players in a while, so it'll be interesting to see how they do.
The disc coming down. It was a 4-point run to take half from 4-2 to 5-2, or 4-2 to 8-2. And the US kept that going. Now 9-2. Dubé rips one. He's looking all the way downfield, and it just might be perfect. Fantastically chased down and collected into the arms of Alexander Nichols.
And it's Nichols who is trying to pump up this team earlier in the game and now able to come out. Hasn't played in several points with the offense having been on the field, and came out with so much energy. And that's the first time, Lorcan, that we haven't seen Canada hucking to the USA, but able to come down with a deep game of their own. That is a huge point here for Canada.
Fantastic shot, really well set up also. I don't think Isaiah Mason was properly prepared for Dubé to rock that shot to the end zone. Large arc, easy to follow, and a comfortable catch in the end. That's the exact kind of spark the Canadians were looking for. Would have been handier if it happened a point ago. As we look at the head coach, Patrick Sherlock, back-to-back national champion with Philadelphia Amp in 2018, 2019, back-to-back Ultiworld Coach of the Year in the mixed division, 2017, 2018. They also took a silver in 2017. So that's even before, as we were already talking about, his experience with the U24 program and alongside the other coaches. So just a litany of success. And that's phenomenal pull. Here comes Nishizaki to try and put some pressure on. Immediate travel call, so you're going to have to go back. Nishizaki still there in that dump space, working alongside Jeremy Giard. And you can see the way just hopping out, trying to limit the options, get it to Bartlett. And now the pop back. I think Giard's going to call for contact, getting carried away. That disc is going to come back unless it's a block! Goodness gracious me, what a D! Noah Nishizaki followed that arc all the way into his hand. And now, is it break time for TC? Well, it'll take a couple more moves like that, but nice resetting. Samantha Mock. Hard cutting into tightly contested space. Giard shoots. It's floating, but it's contestable. Phenomenal grab. Ryan Graves. You gotta bring a shovel if you wanna go to work, and the grave digger getting that one into his hands.
An incredible grab from Ryan Graves there. You could see 2 or 3 times before he went for that deep strike, he tried to go deep. He was looking to set that up, maybe backing himself in the matchup against Isaiah Mason on that one. And See, one of the USA players there looking maybe a little bit fragile after that point, so hopefully okay, but that story of that point there, all about Ryan Graves. We'll get a look at this huge block rising above. Incredible play, Nishizaki.
How did he get that? That's another example of getting it on the way down. Of course, when you jump that high, that's an awfully long trip back. And then I was thinking, Mason, this is floating too much. Mason's going to get it, but Ryan Graves backing himself. There's few people in the world brave enough to do that. Fewer still who are right to do so. All right, well, that's got to be energizing. We were talking about earlier on the energy trying to raise it. Nichols was just throwing jellies into people's mouths. Well, throwing spicy puts into the end zone and tearing them down over incredibly impressive Americans is another way to raise spirits.
The first break of the game for the Canadians as well, so maybe a momentum builder for them. We'll see if they can tap into it.
And a Canadian zone. It almost just seems to have that little venom to its bite that was missing earlier on. You can feel the intensity ratcheting up. It's still a few points as Hakimi linking up very well with Grossberg. And Grossberg seemingly has the antidote as he is just running this offense all the way down, involving plenty of people on the way. It's not a one-man show. Olme just waiting. The Canadians holding the zone for now, and they've melted. Hakimi. As you can see, the defense starting to arrive. Hakimi takes right back off again. She's got experience playing at this level. And with this team, wants to add to her collection. Anton Orme happy to be a part of it too. 10-4.
And the USA responding really well after that break from Canada, able to come out with a really clean, efficient hold, and that's what you want your offenses to be able to do. We've talked a little bit about the different line systems. Sometimes it can be a bit hard in a three-line system when the rhythm has been disrupted from having a break, but for this USA team, they've shown it's absolutely no problem. Hakimi able to find Orm in the end zone, and a nice hold from there. You see on the previous point, USA number 92 Magnon going down injured after the Canadian celebrations. So just assessing the mobility with the trainer on the sideline, and hopefully we'll see Magnon back in the game as well working.
So right now we're hoping to find ourselves watching Canada fight their way back into this game. 10-4, they need a hold. As we have a quick look at Michiko Magnon. We send her all the best. And the Canadian offense, that energy from their D-line, do you think it helps settle their nerves, helps them feel a bit more confident?
It'll be interesting to see. This is the first time we now see their O-line coming back out after a little while, but looks like it could be a bit of a power line here as well, maybe crossing a few players over who've been doing really well so far here for this Canadian team today.
Yeah, but bearing in mind, of course, that it was the D-line who scored that O point, so Kurahashi and the Canadian O-line, or at least this power line, that's Nishizaki out there helping as well. And Mock. Do you have a direct line to the Canadian coaching staff, Becky? There seem to be taking some advice. Yeah, it's going to be a call. It actually looks perhaps like Poe may have hurt himself slightly. Yep, he's calling an injury. We hope he's okay. Such an impactful player, going for the big bid and just coming up a little bit uncomfortable. Cullen Baker coming on to replace him. Canada happy to keep things as they are. And the pop down the line. Toth with that massive layout block earlier, and just putting it a bit too far outside of the catchable area for Zhang. That is a difficult thing to do. Oh, there's an accepted foul instead, so it's going to go back. That seems to be a foul by Zeppelin Ronig on Toth. Let's have another quick sconce at it. I imagine they could have told Zhang that before she made another layout. She can't stop people from doing what they love or what they're best at. Nishizaki swings around. Toth Kurahashi. Zhang cuts out of the cut a little early, comes back into it, but under pressure all the time. You can't hesitate against these Americans. That's the second time they've been punished for doing so. Elise Friedman locking up Zhang. Now the swing back around to Baker. Off to the opposite sideline, Cunningham thinks about the deep shot, steps back and into it, looking all the way downfield. And it's the always nutritious Adkins diet for the goal. 11-4 and a break to the USA.
Once again, Lorcan, this USA team just so quick on that transition after the turnover there. Incredible throw from Tori Gray for the Huck. Gray unleashing that flick. Like you said, could see the step back before putting it up into space. And the USA, again, maybe having a tiny bit of pressure from Canada there out of the half, but withstanding it. Friedman with the massive block was reading that one all the way through, and Gray unleashing a massive flick Huck for the goal.
You're not going to beat these American defenders with a stutter step. You're only going to beat them with sprints, and that takes 5 to 6 steps. Takes a lot of effort, and in this kind of weather, after a full day of preparation, that's a lot of time to be sitting out in this heat, having it slowly drain out of you. It's always going to be tough. Elise Friedman, incredible block. And the assist, Tori Gray.
This one.
Who's been brilliant for them all game long. The UC San Diego Dragon Coalitioner. I'm not entirely sure what that demonym would be. I just wanted to say the club name if I'm honest. Dragon Coalition. So here come the US once more, crashing upon the Canadian shores from sea to shining sea right now. And the blade across. The offense started by Coster on the near sideline. Dubé. He's got some big toes. Coster just wrestling, eventually able to juggle that one into his hands. And Peterson rips one, wants to send it to Dubé downfield. He's already got a Huck throw, now for a Huck reception. Great boxing against Orme, but spiking the drop. That is a reflection of frustration.
Absolutely, Lorcan, you said it there. That's frustration boiling over here for the Canadians. Read that disc so well and should have come down with it.
And the US of A going right back at Canada. Big shot, Bartlett looking downfield, wants Caroline Stone. Gets her. Quick move and the dump back. Micah Glass leads, and it's a comfortable collection for Anton Orme. 12-4. Yep, I would agree he might go to sleep because right now they're putting the Canadians to bed.
The USA having a lot of fun with that celebration there. They've had a lot of opportunities to practice those celebrations as they've been undefeated in this tournament so far, and right now showing us why. You see that one able to just reel it in. Costa before Peterson unleashing to Dubé, and Dubé arguably really should have done better there, and you see his frustration after. Reflection of this game here, Lorcan. Canada unable to get into their rhythm.
Right now, unable to find their way into this matchup. We head into the second heat break. The Americans 8 points to good. 12-4 up.
2025 club season is upon us, and Ultiworld is bringing you all the action. Ultiworld is the best place for live video, news, highlights, and analysis of your favorite teams and players.
Bartlett scores again.
Make sure to subscribe for our extensive live coverage of the USAU club season, including the thrilling club championships in San Diego in October, exclusively on Ultiworld.
Welcome back, everybody, as we're just going to take a trip down memory lane and see the domination of the American sides at the under-24 competitions ever since they started showing up.
You see here the mixed division results from 2015 onwards, and before that, of course, in 2013 as well. USA wrapping up all the gold medal games, and the only time a USA program has lost since attending this event was that 2015 women's division team that lost in the final to Japan. But since then, we have seen sheer dominance. But that being said, Lorcan, I'm not sure we've seen the USA programs truly take apart teams in the final the way they have today. The women's team were all over Japan. Japan a couple breaks at the end to get back into it, but the USA taking them apart in the women's game. And then the US Open team, a show of sheer dominance over the Belgium team as well in that final. And here we see this mixed team up 12-4 over Canada right now.
And I was discussing this earlier on during the women's final with Hannah Pendlebury. When you play the Americans, you don't just play the 7 players opposite you. You don't just play the 24-odd players on the squad. You play that weight, that reputation. It's something that Alex Ferguson used to say in football, otherwise known as soccer. About half the time, people would lose to the reputation. You'd step onto the field and you'd already have lost in your mind, so you'd have no chance in the game. And for all the talk and all the preparation, and the Canadians are prepared as hard as you can. I mean, they took on all-stars and national champions in Seattle as part of their preparation. There's just nothing like the real thing, and American are giving them 100% beef right now. Kurahashi, down the line. Maloney. Shigley. Neo Debra. Kurahashi cuts again from a static start, though, so not a huge gain. Schultz marks close. Zhang. Emily Zhang. Can't get the continuation of Kurahashi. There was help defense in the area anyway, so probably best to holster. Goes around to Shigley. Suzuki makes a move. Shigley feeds him. Suzuki catches it under pressure and pops it into Nielsen for the goal. Look, it's a long way to Tipperary, but it starts with a single step. 12-5.
Yeah, like you said there, Canada, if they're going to hope to come back into this one, needing to take it 1 point at a time. That being said, we've seen the USA be so clinical. Suzuki looking a bit worse for wear after that one there as well, Lorcan. And this game has been very much in the control of the Americans. Michael Poe earlier going off injured as well. Steph Rapazzo on the sideline finding out for us that he is doing all good, so we should see him still involved in this one. Suzuki there throwing in to Nielsen, and Canada really needing to get some kind of momentum going. You can hear the crowd starting to ramp up their cheering for this Canadian squad as well. So maybe needing that little bit of injection of energy, but I won't be surprised to see this USA offense come back on the field and just be so clinical the way we've seen them throughout this match.
Something I saw in the semi-final in the Open division was when the US took on Canada. And the Canadian Open team pushed them closer than any other Open team did in this tournament. It doesn't mean they were ever really that close to them. But the real gap seemed to be a matter of the Canadians would work so hard to get a hold, and they'd be happy about it. And the US would just cut right through them. Fresh scissors through new cloth, hot knives through butter. Whatever metaphor you want to use. It always looks smooth, so we will see what Canada can do to try and introduce a couple of bumps into this American offense. Two-5. Step. Nicely down to Adkins. Looking to get it back. Chef Raekwon cooking something up. And it's a huge shot all the way downfield, perfectly out in front of Baker, but something went wrong in the kitchen, and there's a fumble.
Perhaps maybe just too much time for Baker to think about making that catch.
The throw was too perfect, Becky posits, as there's a big shot downfield. Canada looking to go right back at them. It's into the hands of Le Chasseur. Support filters through. Le Chasseur shoots, looking to the end zone, wants to find Roberts, collects, that's a break, 12-6.
I said before that point, Lorcan, that I'd be surprised to see the USA not holding here, but Canada proving me wrong on this occasion, going back the other way, and I have to say, looking quite confident in their offensive choices on that one, not afraid of the moment, maybe loosening up given the situation of this game. Baker will want that one back. However, a very uncharacteristic drop from him. You see another shot at it here. It was in acres of space in this end zone. Just went with one hand, maybe could have waited to clap catch it with two, I think, and then going back the other way. Le Chasseur shooting in the end zone and under the pressure. That is a lot better from this Canadian defensive unit.
Doesn't matter how you get the breaks. All that matters is you get them. And that's a break. Second of the half, second of the game for Canada. The US still up. They've had 3 breaks in this half. Canada have had 2. Of course, the US had 5 breaks in the first half. Canada had 0. So, closing that gap all the time. Nishizaki comes down, closing the gap at the front. There's a deep shot available. There's also an incredibly free Elise Friedman available. They go to Friedman instead. Magnon back on the pitch. Fantastic to see her return. And the throw down the line. Plenty of space, plenty of time for Cunningham. Looks to shoot the front corner and just popping it back and forth. Micah Glass is the one to finish it off. But I feel like that was 4 passes, if not even like 5 at most.
And that's the clean offense I'd expected to see from this American team on the previous point, and what we've been seeing from them really throughout this game. They're creating so much separation for each other, and it's not just from how they set up their cuts, but it's the other players holding space on the field as well, staying in their positions, just keeping their defender occupied and making it really hard for the Canadians to create any kind of help D situations as well, ending up in that big upline cut there, and the USA 2 points away here, Lorcan, from a gold medal.
And that was something when we were talking to the American coaches beforehand. They said playing mixed makes you better, as you have to learn to play the different paces, learn to read the different structures, and eventually that balance helps you develop your versatility, helps you develop your decision making and learn how to cut to create space for others.
Absolutely, and I think that's one thing we've seen from both teams in this final. Both teams deserve credit for playing incredible mixed ultimate. It's been a great showcase for that. You see the way they create space and separation for each other on the pitch. And like you said, that ability to turn and react to throwing to a different gender as well. It takes a lot of strategy, a lot of ultimate IQ as well. And both teams have been doing a good job of showcasing mixed as a division.
So this American line staying out there. Might be wrong, but I don't see Naomi, so I assume this isn't happy birthday Naomi Fina. Is it Huevos or is it Y? Answer now. Kurahashi to the near sideline. Technically with her pivot might be out of bounds, but it's a small distinction. Neo de Bruyne gets back into the center. Zhang. Emily Zhang back to De Bruyne. Continues the flow. It's going to be a call on that. I was just about to start praising the excellent force by Michael Poe.
I think on that force, Poe stepped off a little bit into the lane, and Magnon, I think, calling the pick here against Emily Zhang. See, it'll be interesting to see how this discussion goes. We'll see if we can listen in.
When you were ready, you pushed your arms out, whether that I don't think it has like push. Okay.
Hey, we're switching two.
Okay.
Two.
So we got a foul, contest, Stall is coming in on.
Saying two, maybe?
Okay, Stall is coming in on saying two.
I stand corrected there. Push off being called by Magnan in this situation, so the call will be contested.
We'll have another look at it.
Are we happy?
Will allow you to make up your own minds at home, much like a game advisor, Oliver Brown, allowing the players to make up their own minds on the pitch. And we're coming back in 3-2 Dubru. Shigley slowly steps. I'm not quite sure what to make of that dump cut. It worked though, as now they try to get a bit of a dominator going, Shigley and Dubru. We haven't seen too much of Shigley in this game, and we saw an awful lot of him throughout the Canadian campaign. Kurahashi cuts front corner. Two defenders collapse. Zhang now moves in. Mistiming it slightly with the poach. There's options everywhere, but it's not going to make to any of them. Fantastic heads-up defensive presence. And Isaiah Mason gets the block. And now it's swung around Poe. Mason comes under. Instead goes to Caroline Stone. Poe. Mason. Doesn't want to go under, wants to take it all, wants to take it now. Nielsen reading that one, plucking it back down. And the Canadians go back. 13-6. You have to work a little bit harder than that, she says. Suzuki. Shigley. Hop, skip, and up the line. And a hammer all the way over. Nicely waiting for it. Malinet. Nielsen back to Suzuki. Suzuki to Nielsen. Just gets that continuation over. Magnan marking Nielsen, stops any further flow. Kurahashi. Nielsen clears out of the space. Suzuki tries the shoulder drop and then tries basically barging his way past, but can't get there. Shigley can, finds Malinet with the inside break to the left side corner. 13-7.
That was a much better offensive end zone look here from the Canadians. We saw on the previous possession, it was the defense from Friedman and Stone in that front corner at that cone that really stopped them from being able to get in. We know they like those little small ball spaces in the end zone, forcing them to have to go over the top, where Mason was able to make the block. You see here multiple cutters in that space, throwing over, Mason coming in, and then when they were able to get it back after this defensive play here from Nielsen, they went for a slightly different look. That cut coming from the back of the end zone instead of those front corner cuts. And I think this is something Canada needs to do. They need to recognize when their plan A isn't working and find a plan B option.
Right now I feel like they're moving into plan D, E, F territory, because they are definitely in trouble. See how much work they've put in. Steph Rapazzo on our sideline doing a little digging for us and letting us know Suzuki is really feeling the heat. He's put in a Herculean shift, but it's been well matched by the defense. We'll just see how that progresses. If this game goes on much longer, they're really going to have to start emptying their tank, because right now they seem to be emptying their bench. The Americans coming up against some fresh Canadian legs and finding the space against them. Quick swing across. And nicely down the line. They're just so good at finding those gaps. Sulflo, eponymous in his ability to keep the Americans going. Bartlett. Oh, but that time throwing into the space in the open trap. Nathan Daly gets it. Some quick pops back and forth. Swinging along. Jia. Dubé. Nobody cutting into where he would like to huck. Now two people turn and go up the line immediately. That's an awful lot of folk in a very small space. Big reaching grab. Fantastically done by Davis Toth. He's brought his go-go gadget boots. He's been flying all over the pitch all day. Double layout. Fantastic block. Wasn't sure if there was going to be a call there or not. Grossberg able to get low and get there first against Nathan Daly. So Daly gets one D, Grossberg gets one back. And here come the Americans, 13-7, big shot all the way downfield. And that's an insane grab! Destined for dirt, but Emily Pozzi has other ideas, picks up the assist, and at this point is just showing off. Aaron Bartlett with the goal. Emily Pozzi with the career-defining play. 14-7.
Grossberg and Pozzi both putting it all on the line here at the end of this game. 1 point away, Lorcan, from a gold medal, and showing to us right now why this program has won so many gold medals. They don't take anything for granted, putting everything they have out there, and the number of times they have earned the disc back off this Canadian team is sensational, putting big plays out. This one, the play from Canada, Daly going back the other way, but then this block from Grossberg laying out big in the space, says no fly zone on that one. And then Emily Pozzi. This USA team has been unbelievable, Lorcan.
And then to do a play like that, where you're literally scraping your knuckles on the turf to get to the disc first. Like, try diving fist first at your front guard and see how that feels. For Pozzi to then stand up and just, cool as you like, dish that little pass straight into the end zone. I've seen so many people get up after those plays. Conservation of greatness, turnover. Absolutely not for Emily. 14-7 in the United States. Look, that, if anything, that scoreline, it's very reflective of the game we've watched in front of us. So, here come the Canadians. Every point now threatens to be the last of their campaign, and they've had such fun playing together, such joy coming together. I'm sure the friendships will last. If the memory of today is something they may prefer to forget, there's still time to fight back and take pride in their efforts. Nielsen from Zhang, Kurahashi. Full extension grab. And no continuation cut from the stack. And another full extension grab from Nielsen. But that's how much effort the Canadians have to put in to retaining possession in the dump space. Kurahashi has the chance to lead downfield, takes it. There's not been too many opportunities for smooth plays like that. Daly has Nielsen behind. Now Nielsen cuts up the line, has a little bit of separation, catches the disc on the float. Kurahashi mistimes that cut and shuts off the options. Goes back to Daly. Daly thinks about the swing, goes back to Nielsen. Great little clamping and switching. The Americans don't mind who you're covering as long as you're covering someone. A testament to their defensive prowess. Goes back to Shigley. As Cutchins again peels off to stop the two-person game. Cutchins on Daly, Shigley shoots, Zhang! Look, if you're looking for leadership, it's always going to come back to Alicia Zhang, it seems. 14-8.
Yeah, Alicia Zhang and Ryan Shigley staying calm in that moment on the doorstep of the end zone. Canada just resetting the disc, much more patience from them rather than trying to force it into that front corner of the end zone, opting to get that reset into the middle, and then Zhang timed that cut so nicely off the front of the stack to get a wide open point in the end. And you see Shigley here, no hesitation, knew where he wanted to look for that next pass, and Zhang getting the goal. But Canada, Lorcan, trailing 14-8. Game point here for the USA and their offense back on the field.
They've actually been trading since Canada broke to make it 12-6, which, would you believe, is across 4 points is the longest sustained period of trading we've had in this final. As I gotta say, this is some of the longest sustained support we've seen. The crowd has been right with the Canadians all day long. Before them, the Belgian crowd also very vocal. Trying to find that energy, trying to find that spirit, lift their team. You can see, helping any way they can. As the Canadians, I believe it was the Canadians, call a timeout, try and assess what's going on. Look, this next point could be the last of their tournament. You want to extend that experience as long as possible. So we're going to see what happens when we return, as it is the United States 14, Canada 8. Welcome back, everybody. It's the evening here in Logroño, Spain, and according to the crowd, it's break time for TC. Well, check your watch. What does it tell you? as the Canadians come out with a big pull. And this American, I was about to say O-line, it's not an O-line, this American, one of 3 lines. I'm going to say huevos, because I like eggs. Looking to scramble the Canadian defense one more time.
And just a pick called upfield, Lorcan, as the defenders will reset.
And here they come. Trying to flow down the pitch, but into a bit of problems. Gets the block, gets the touch. And Canada with a chance for a break. Not looking to rush anything. Davis Toth. Surveying, shooting for the end zone. Help defense arriving. And it's a massive layout play. The defender helped clamp, but ultimately the credit has to go to Aaron Bartlett. Sometimes you've just got to let Bartlett be Bartlett.
To me, Lorcan, it looked like Lachlan Margisson there was trying to get the disc into the end zone as well, rather than going to attack it, allowing for that D to come and run through to get the block.
Huge play. I don't think that's a no-look block. I don't think at any point Mock was engaged there, just reading the eyes of Caroline Stone and sticking the hand up, keeping it in the danger area. Fantastic defensive awareness for the goal. Lucier comes back under. Able to get the touch, can't get it back to Mock though. Tries to center it. Now a leading pass. Big defensive efforts, but fantastic composure and hands from Roberts. Got a point earlier on, catching under some duress in the end zone. Now looking for the inside out scoop, setting up an air battle, and one that is contested, but I think Margisson got there first. Nope, that is a hard disagree. It is in fact intercepted. Margisson understood. He did not get there first. It was Micah Glass, adding to his impressive tally. Now we go down to Maginot. Maginot across to Stone. Stone wants to end this right now, looking for Friedman, but looking too far.
That one just not executed from Stone. You can see the thumbs up after that throw. The right option, the right decision. Friedman was open, maybe just a bit excited, knowing how open Friedman was, knowing that that is the moment they could have ended the game. So just not the execution on it. Canada, another chance at a break.
So, taking that long, lonely walk to the disc in the end zone. Samantha Mock, who has been quite impressive for the Canadians throughout this match. Stepping on when required for the O-line when they've stumbled. Getting blocks without even looking at the disc. And now sitting as the linchpin in what could be the final point for this Canadian iteration. Tough. And you can see almost the consternation on Margisson's face. I gotta tell you, Margisson, you need to be going faster than that. And now a big huck downfield. It's another battle, and it's another block for Aaron Bartlett. Bartlett just owning that space right now.
You could not say it better, Lorcan. Bartlett has been all over. You can see him shoulder checking there to see where Nichols was before rising above and getting to the disc first. The USA has Canada's number.
Has all 22 of them, it seems. And that was a difficult catch. Is that a timeout called by Bartlett as he caught that one? Or yes, it must have been, because otherwise he thinks he's just scored a Callahan on his own end zone, and that makes no sense. So, yep, seems like a USA timeout, recognizing a lot of turns, a lot of back and forth on this point. At 14-8, they just want to settle their nerves, Becky?
Yeah, I think exactly that here, Lorcan. The USA just want to settle. They want to take a moment to take that deep breath, play calm offense. They had open options in that previous possession, just rushing it a little bit. You've seen the incredible defensive plays throughout. Bartlett tracking that one all the way, coming from behind as well. His closing speed so effective. Sam Mock going the other way, just keeping her eyes on Stone to make that no-look block. And then again, Micah Glass. How did he catch that one, Lorcan?
He's been practicing picking locks and pockets. Something Fagan would be proud of as we see another stop. Bartlett, presidential in that space and taking command. I like that call as well. I think that's smart leadership. You're 1 point off. Things have been getting a little bit loose, a little bit unhinged. Let's just tighten up a wee bit. Bartlett's going to pick it up. He did it immediately as well, so it's not like, oh, I'm coming back in on 3. It's like, nah, I caught that and I called it. He didn't even slow down. Of course. Now they're facing fundamental 2-5, and he has to start just where he called the timeout, which was slightly inside his end zone. Big swing around. Stone. Being marked well by Lucier, but able to get the breakdown to Magnan. Magnan inside, Bartlett. Big fakes before eventually going back. And that's a fantastic break by Glass. Magnan, since she's come back from injury, has just been so available consistently. Great little throw through to Bartlett. They're right outside the end zone. It could go Bartlett, Magnan the whole way down if they wanted to. Stone. Can't swing it around to Kervik. Instead, just taking the dump. No need to force anything. Gold stays gold forever, so you don't need to rush to collect it. Kervik, Stone. Kervik continues and tries to hop it in. It's going to be a bit of discussion. They decide no. And that one is definitive. Micah Glass, who's just been perfect in this game, helps them get the win. 15-8 it finishes. USA, your world champions.
The USA once again champions here at the under-24 mixed division. I actually thought that one from Declan Kervik might have been jumped in successfully, but then the second time you see smiles on the faces of the Canadians, put down a big effort in the second half. But today, Lorcan, in every single division, this story has been about the United States. They have been so dominant, so clinical, and they have taken apart teams. Incredible stuff here from the Americans.
As we have a look here at some of those highlights, this was the finishing shot. Now, did Kervik? Oh, it's close. It's close. His foot might have been down when he was leaping. It's very hard to do, and not wanting to get into a discussion right there. He's like, no. Let's just get right back to the action, because I can see Glass coming, and he's coming through to shatter some Canadian hopes and dreams. But they still take the silver, and as you said, Becky, 12 years absent from the final for a country a lot of people consider, if not the second best, certainly top 3, top 4 in the world. So definitely a successful campaign, especially after the disappointment of last iteration's Canadians. As we are going to go and talk to the newly crowned champions, who are with our sideline reporter, Stefan Rapazzo.
Here with Orm and Potsy after a trifecta of victories for the Americans. Let's go to Anton first. Talk about your feelings right now. You guys have got the trifecta. How you feeling?
I mean, awesome. Amazingly happy. Like, we put this team together, and a lot of us have never played together, but we put together a great mixed team, and like we made it happen. We accomplished our goal. I feel amazing.
You guys, there's been talk about the 3 different identities of your lines. Talk about a bit of the variation, how you work in 3 units, and how you guys have put it all together.
Our line was we're the Y line.
My tech's gonna blow up here, but we're still going.
We were the Y line. So we had some cheers and songs together, and we played a lot of defense. So then there was a Happy Birthday Pina line and a Huevos line, and they all just had an identity, and we had a lot of fun with them.
All right, there was a legit Huevos line. Anton, your celebration. What did you tell us about the celebration down there? We had no idea what's going on.
There's not much to it. I don't know. We're in a hotel. We're like trying to think up celebrations, and we put that one together. Just something between me and Micah.
Okay, and your grab down here, one of the plays of the game, pulled it out of the dirt. Walk us through that one more time before we put this one away.
I knew Anton was going to put it, and I knew I was going to get it. It was so fun.
Well, great connection between these two. Whole Team USA, they get the trifecta done. There were some doubters out there, but nothing ever to be put to doubt. Team USA takes all 3. Let's send it back up top.
Thank you so much to Stefan Rapazzo and Anton Orm, Emily Pazzi for joining us. And of course, thank you to everybody involved in this whole tournament. We're deeply indebted to the volunteers, the local organising committee here in Logroño, Spain, who put on a fantastic week of festivities in a beautiful city that welcomed us with open arms. Of course, a big thank you to everyone at Ultiworld, the whole crew, everybody around the stadium helped bring you this top quality coverage. You want to say your thanks to them, make sure you subscribe to ultiworld.com, follow us on all relevant social media accounts. Thank you to absolutely everybody who showed up and played and took part. As you can see, some of our wonderful crew far off in the stands. Katie, Lolo, smiling, waving to the cameras. It's been a long week here in Logroño, Spain, but it's been a fantastic one. Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to have a wonderful time. And that's Rex making the long trip from down under. Kelly and Chips up in the top corner, waving to the camera. You know, Chips has been going around on crutches for the last week. That's worth noting. You think injuries only happen to players. Of course, Lucy down in the stands, bringing you that first-person action. Camerasaurus Rex making another appearance for good measure. I don't know who they are. They're probably not important. Oh, I do know Chris. Chris on the far left. He's very important. The other three, Felix, Dana, Charlie, fantastic. On behalf of the whole crew here, of course, we also had Billy, who's with us earlier, and the inimitable Lindsay Sue as well earlier on the calls. Hannah Pendlebury, Liam Grant, Stefan Rapazzo, the wonderful Becky Thompson, and myself, the barely passable Lorcan Murray. Thank you so much for joining us for all this action all this week. There's plenty more to come. There's only one place to ever see it. That's ultiworld.com. So we will see you next Catch Time. Same Catch channel.